Yes, yes, man. So, what was your childhood dream?
My childhood dream was the same as my dream is now, to become a filmmaker and to reach as many people as possible.
So, who inspired you to be a filmmaker?
Films.
Films.
So, and everything I saw in them, it was, besides entertainment and the art part, it's also you can find a friend in films or in TV or in media. When I say films, it's all kinds of moving images. And what I strive for is to recreate this feeling I got from films for other people. Either by making my own work or by discovering and creating things that I find important and worth watching.
So, what is success to you?
It's hard to define because it changed so much over time. At first, when I started out as wanting to be a filmmaker, to be honest, I wanted to be admired, I wanted to be seen. But through time it changed to reaching as many people as possible, but with a positive effect. And I think if you surround yourself with the right community and can make a sustainable living, that's success.
What has been a defining moment in your life?
It was when my first short film, when I was 16 years old, was awarded with a prize by the local TV station by ORF, and I was like, for example, my parents understood that you could make money off films without having to shoot weddings, for example, and this gave me the chance to keep on pursuing my dreams, and I had a little less explaining to do.
So, what has been your greatest achievement so far?
It was around 2 or 3 years ago. A lot of parts fell into place. I had my own TV show. I still have the girlfriend, but I met my now girlfriend, who's a person I never thought of, who would be interested in me. I got an entry in IMDb, the International Movie Database. So a lot of things I always envisioned for myself when I was a child fell into place, and suddenly I saw that I reached my dreams and I had to evaluate them. So dream bigger.
So, what fuels your creativity?
First and foremost, films. Like I said, all kinds of moving images, and people, talking to them, seeing what they want out of life, what I could give them, and being valued myself, either like if I can entertain people, if I can make them laugh, that's very important to me. If I can make their lives better, which is oftentimes through honest talk. I try to ask them questions that might make them think of something they wouldn't have thought of without me, and to see a change in someone's life through what I did, if it's through films or through me as a person, is a very fulfilling thing.
So, what has been your biggest failure so far?
My biggest failure so far has been giving up on myself for quite a time, because after I achieved those dreams, I didn't know what would be the next step. And I always need a vision to work towards to. You have to, in my opinion, have a big vision and know the small steps to it. But without the big thing, you can't do the small thing. So I gave up on myself in a sense that I was happy well, I wasn't happy, I was satisfied, and satisfaction is not always necessarily happiness. And but this crisis led to so much more that I strive for now than I could have before it.
So what would you like to achieve with your work?
I'd like to reach and entertain people with my work, and for me personally, I'd like to see the world, get to know as many interesting people as possible, and if I can surround myself with positive energy and not fall back into this kind of pessimism that lures deep inside me, I think then I have achieved most of my goals.
So, if you take a look outside and see someone who is inspired by your work, who is it?
Just the other day, a very good friend of mine, he told me that I do reviews of short films on Short of the Week, and he told me this one film I picked, and I wrote a very personal review because it was dear to my heart, the film itself. And he said, seeing this film enriched his life, and the reason he watched this because he trusts me, and this trust and kind of respect is awesome.
So what advice would you give to an aspiring talent?
In either field or in filmmaking?
Because nowadays with the technology available, more and more super young filmmakers are established in the world.
That's true, especially for young people, because when I grew up, it was the transition from traditional film to new media for YouTube. When I made my first short film, it was the same year YouTube started. But nowadays, it's like almost 10 years later, it's a completely different game. You can just do what you really want and then find the perfect environment for it. I always tend to do it the other way around. Like I see an environment I want to fit in, and I know that it's not the perfect way, and I'm changing this kind of thinking. But if I could tell someone to do something different, it would be this: do your own thing and then find parameters around that.
What is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen?
Wow.
You can tell us your girlfriend as well.
Yeah. I guess it was some kind of experience where I saw collective joy. I don't know if it was in a cinema or a film festival or in my friend circle, but when, for example, the whole room stands up and gives you a standing ovation, it's pure joy.
Who has influenced you?
I want to say my parents, but not as a direct influence, but to see what they did and to, for me, decide, okay, I want to do it this way. And on the other hand, a lot of filmmakers and other artists who did their own stuff by their own definitions and were still successful with it. And what I find even more important, because when I started out I wanted to make myself become important, and now I see that it's much more fulfilling to create a community and help other people by doing my own stuff. And there are some filmmakers who do that, and that's what I try to live up to.
So what would you do if you have only 30 days to live?
Wow. Spend it with the most important people in my life and do something with them. Probably a film. Because that's another part why I do this, because I want to leave something behind that tells something about me, about how I saw the world. And I guess if I know I have 30 days to live, that might be the right amount of time to actually create something that will outlast myself and do that with my friends, and it would be the perfect experience.
So what is your dream now?
Now it's to either live in New York or Los Angeles or Vancouver, Northern America, that's where I always want to go, and change the system for the better, the system I want to work in. Because I've always been a filmmaker first, but I see the changes that are happening, and I think we can profit so much from it. I want to help with that, either in North America or create something similar here in Austria, because I'm always looking for things I want to do, but there's nothing here that I'd be passionate enough to participate in. And either I create it here or internationally perfect, and then it doesn't matter where I live. I'd love to travel and have my home base in Austria, but be in New York 3 months at a time, and Los Angeles other 3 months.
So the last question is actually not a question, it's just open space for whatever comes.
Whatever comes. It's the hardest part. Because I guess the reason why I'm in the filmmaking business is to connect with people. This is the most important thing. It's my way of connecting, of communicating. Either, like I said, doing my own stuff and people watch it and say, oh, that's how I think. And now I can articulate myself through story, and I can make sense of my surrounding, of the world through story. Or what I always do is quote films or TV shows, because it's much easier for me to share my feelings and emotions through something abstract and different than be completely honest. I try to be as honest as possible, but through some kind of joke or a situation from a TV show or film, it's easier for me to make other people see what I mean and what I want to say.
Cool. It works.